In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a hexagon pom-pom pincushion. To make the pom-pom pincushion, you're going to need the template pieces. You can download these from my website. There's a link in the description. You'll need some fabric. You can choose up to 6 fabrics for the top of the hexagon pincushion. I chose 3 here, and I'm going to do this pattern. You also need lightweight fusible interfacing. And then for the pom-pom, you need a little pom-pom maker and a little bit of yarn. This is available on Amazon. It's the Clover 2.5-inch pom-pom maker. So to start out, we're going to cut out 6 of the triangles for the top of the hexagon and 1 for the back. And to put these together, we're going to sew first the top 3 together and then the bottom 3. The template has one blunt corner on the triangle, so you're going to want to make sure these are all together at the bottom. So I'm going to start by pinning 2 together and sewing right here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you'll end up sewing right from this corner and then meeting at that blunt little spot right there. And that is the first seam, and then we're going to press it open. And now we're going to pin the 3rd triangle right there. This is the side where the blunt edges are, so I'm going to pin it right here. And that should fit together. And we're going to sew that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now press that open. And for these, I like to press the seam allowances towards the outer triangles, just like that. And that just is the way that the seams seem to want to go, and it lies flatter. So then I'm going to repeat that with these 3 bottom triangles. Now we're going to sew the top and the bottom of the hexagon together, and we'll just do that by flipping it up and pinning along this side, this edge, this middle edge. And then sew along that seam with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now we're going to press that seam allowance open to give us less bulk. Be careful not to burn your fingers on this step. Okay, once that's pretty flat, we are going to use lightweight fusible interfacing to interface both pieces of our pincushion. So I am going to make sure the sticky side is up and just kind of do a rough cut here. And then I'm going to fuse this on, but I don't want to get my iron on any of that sticky adhesive. So I'm going to kind of go from this side. And once it's a little bit tacked on there, I'll trim off these edges. I'm going to go ahead and press it again. And we'll repeat the same process with our back piece. going to use our back pincushion piece to trim up this pieced hexagon piece, the one with the 6 pieces. When you're piecing together a few different fabrics, sometimes they'll just skew a little bit and it'll be a little too big. So we're just going to trim this up so it fits a little better. Now we'll pin these 2 pieces together, right sides together, matching all those little corner points. And then we'll sew this hexagon together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. All the way around, we're going to pivot at each corner, and then we're going to leave just a little bit, about 1.5 inches, so just about one of those triangles open for turning. But we want to make sure we get over the points here, and then back stitch, and then we'll leave this part open. Our next step is to trim these corners off, and then we'll turn the pincushion right side out through that hole we left. So this hole is pretty little, so it might be a little tricky to turn it, but take your time. We'll turn this right side out. Okay, when you have turned it right side out, we're going to press it. And when you get to that opening, just fold those edges under, following the seam that you already made. So fold over 1/4 inch on each of those sides. Okay, now we're going to use that opening to stuff it with stuffing. When your pincushion is stuffed to your liking, we're going to sew these edges together with a ladder stitch. So get your needle and thread and get a knot on there, and then we'll start out. So the ladder stitch is just stitching these 2 folded edges together, and you want it to be kind of invisible. You don't want to see that stitch, so we're going to thread the needle inside that little fold and then out just enough to go get into the other one, or to go get a stitch there. Tie it off, and then you can squish the stuffing around a little bit to get it looking good. And then now we're going to make the pom-pom. So to do that, you open your pom-pom maker like this, and we're going to start on one side and start wrapping the yarn around the end of this pom-pom maker thing, this little C shape. So just going to wrap it around and kind of bunch it back up. When you get close to the end of this one, we're just going to pull the string over. You can shut that and then keep going on the other side. Okay, after you finish, we're going to shut that, and then we will cut this thread and then go ahead and just cut through all the yarn with your scissors. And this little tool will keep it in place for you. And then we're going to use more yarn to come in and tie these. Just going to tie them all together. Just right through that center and tie it really tight. I like to do a double knot at least. And then you can open up the pom-pom maker, and then you can pull it apart, and then you have a little pom-pom. So now you can trim it up. Some of the threads will be a little bit bigger than others. So if you want to trim it, you can, or you can leave it kind of uneven, which is cute too. I'm going to trim it a little bit, and then I'm going to leave 2 of these strands a little bigger so that I can sew it onto my pincushion. Now you're going to need a needle with a pretty big eye to get that yarn on there. So thread your yarn through one of those long yarns through your needle, and we're just going to kind of put it in the middle here, pull it through, and once you've done that, take your needle off and find those ends and tie them together a couple times. And then you can trim these pieces to match the rest of the pom-pom. And then your pincushion is done, so you can just put your pins in it. And these make really cute gifts too.